Today, we're going to talk about the ways that my life changed after losing 40 pounds. Losing 40 pounds means a lot, especially when you're not even 5 feet tall. And so it had a huge impact on my life. And today I want to share with you some of the ways that losing 40 pounds has changed my life. Hey mamas, Alexandria here, 35-year-old toddler mom, therapist, and gym rat. I lost nearly 40 pounds postpartum and it changed my life. And so now my goal is to help other mamas and other women to be the best versions of themselves and to reach their goals. And today I thought it would be fun and interesting to sort of share with you some of the changes that happened to me and my body and just my whole personality in losing 40 pounds. So let's go. One of the biggest things that I started to notice as soon as I started to lose the weight is I gained a lot more energy. And I think part of the reason for that is because, as I mentioned in the intro, I do have a smaller frame. I don't make 5 feet tall. And so I think because of that, when I say losing 40 pounds, to some of you, that may seem like a large number, but for some of you, that may seem like a small number. And I think it's very much dependent upon how tall you are, right? And I am not tall. So in case that's not obvious. And so because I don't make 5 feet, I was carrying more weight than my body was accustomed to me carrying or for my frame. And that may not be the case for everyone. So, that's an important metric to keep in mind as well. If you're 5'8" or 5'9", your weight may look different than mine. And that's just body composition, right? And so because of that, though, I did notice when I started to lose weight, I found more energy. It was easier to move around and feel more energetic. I think that's partly because it didn't require as much energy to fuel my body just in its existence. And so I was able to utilize more energy and playing with my son, as well as just sort of getting around more and doing more. The other thing that had a huge impact on me from losing 40 pounds was my sleep. I find that, and now granted, some of this is a life season thing too, but I did find that after I started to lose the weight, I sleep much more soundly. As you guys know, I track my sleep, and so I have a better idea of what that looks like for me. And I just find that I'm better able to get through my sleep cycles in a more productive and recovering way. Is that a word? That's not a word. That can't be a word. Anyway, my point is that my sleep is better. And again, there are so many factors involved. And I think also a piece of it too is that because I was starting to prioritize my recovery and things like that, it meant that I took the actions to make my sleep better. So I do think there's a little bit of a cause and effect sort of challenge here. It's not just because I lost the weight that I sleep better, but I think it's a habit and a consequence of making sure that I was getting good sleep habits. But also I do think for whatever reason, and I don't fully understand this, I think it's a similar vein to folks who develop sleep apnea because they're carrying extra weight. I'm not exactly sure what the science is there, but something about carrying, extra weight for your body composition. I just wasn't sleeping as restfully as I do now. And again, some of that is life season and some of that's outside of our window of control, especially as moms, if you are a mom. So something to keep in mind. One of the biggest was my view on life and my view on movement. In this weight loss journey, in losing 40 pounds, it really shifted my thinking and perspective on getting movement. Because honestly, when I started exercising, when I started working out, I did intentionally choose fun workouts for me because that was what would help me to build the habit. That's what was going to actually make me do it. And then I sort of pivoted to, more challenging things.
Day 20. I can neither walk nor breathe.
But realistically, from a fat loss standpoint, the thing that you're going to do consistently is going to be what's best for fat loss. There's no specific exercise that you just have to do in order to lose fat. It doesn't work like that. And so because of that, it doesn't really matter, that I changed or pivoted, but I do find that from a bone density and, various other elements of improving basal metabolic rate and things like that, that I shifted over into weightlifting. And we've talked about that a lot, so I won't spend a lot of time on that today. But I think the general idea here, though, is that it really changed the way I thought about movement. And it became I have to work out today to I get to work out today. And I think that's really powerful, that sort of pivot from I have to versus I get to. And now I really do enjoy movement. Like, I really enjoy lifting heavy things. I say this in other videos, but I really do mean it. Like, I now get joy out of like really pushing and challenging my body. And before I was doing, before I was doing other types of exercises like sweating and like breathing hard, we're like, oh, whoa, 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 you need to stop, you need to stop. But now it's like, yeah, let's push, like, let's challenge ourselves. And so I really do think that, in this process, again, cause and effect, right? I think because of losing the weight, I enjoy the movement more because it's easier in some ways, right? Like, I don't have to work as hard, but also because I feel like I'm better able to challenge and push myself. And I think those two things go hand in hand. Again, cause effect, I know, but just go with the flow for this video, please. I ask of you. And listen, if you are loving this kind of content, I would love if you would subscribe and comment down below. Come and say hello. Come and join this group of non-judgy mom friends who want to help you reach your goals, because I would love to be your non-judgy mom friend who helps you reach your goals. That's like a perfect world for me. And I'd also just love to chat with you. I've been getting some comments recently of people, sharing their stories and their experiences, and that means so much to me. So anything you want to say to me, if you want to have a conversation in the comment section, I would absolutely love that. So please make sure you say hello, come and say hi, and tell me what you think. What do you think? If you've gone on this weight loss journey, what changed for you? I'd like to. Number 4, I'm probably going to make some people mad here, but it is what it is. Number 4 is my confidence. And now I know what you're thinking. You're like, oh, well, it's because you're skinnier, right? Well, okay, sure. There is certainly a level of I feel more comfortable in my body because of the way that I look in the mirror. Is that superficial? Sure it is. Sure it is. But that's not it. That's not the only thing. And part of my confidence, yes, is the fact that I do prefer the way I look in the mirror when I look in this particular body. And I don't think there's anything wrong with that. But I also don't think you shouldn't be confident because you're not in a certain body. That's the difference. My goal and my hope is that you will love your body in the one you have at the moment. And then if you want to change it, you're doing it because you love your body, not because you hate it. And I think that's a very distinct difference. And did I start down this journey because I hated my body? Probably. There was probably a little bit of that in there. I'm sure there is. I didn't like the way I looked in the mirror. And to be honest with you, I can tell that because you can see in photos, and I can try to insert some photos of me like when I was in past years, like even when I was doing beauty content, like all of my like photos are primarily from like the face up. There are very few photos of me like from here down. And the reason being is because I was not comfortable having my photograph taken in a way that like showed off the rest of my body. I didn't like the way I looked. I didn't feel my best. And no, I'm not fat phobic or fat shaming or any of those other sort of like hot button words. I'm just saying for me that was hard for me. And I'm not saying that you shouldn't love the body you're in. And I really hope you do. I hope the reason that you're doing this and trying to live a healthier, more fit lifestyle is because you do love your body, not because you hate it. And with that, though, I think the other piece of the confidence, though, is about knowing that I can do hard things, because I did something that was really difficult for me. I pushed myself out of my limits of what I was accustomed to doing. And because of that, that also is what builds the confidence. So sure, the superficial piece, fine, whatever. But also that piece, I know that I can do hard things now. I know that I can push myself. I know that I can be better and do hard things. And I do think part of becoming a mom really did that for me. And a lot of the hard seasons that I went through, with my son early on, I talked about that in my story. So if you want to hear like a deep dive, and I do get pretty emotional in that video, I apologize. So if you want to see that and you're curious about those pieces of the story, I'll link that in a card for you. I probably linked it at the beginning of the video. That's just my sort of default setting. Anyway, not my point. My point is that because of all the stuff, the hard stuff that I went through, I think that sort of was like the tipping point for that. But then really seeing that I could put my mind to this and not only achieve my goals, but exceed them and maintain them has been hugely powerful for me from a confidence standpoint. Hopefully that makes sense to you, and hopefully you've understood me and hopefully my words do not get twisted and misunderstood. I hope that, but I can't guarantee that. So it is what it is. And lastly, the thing that changed for me, and then I do want to say one other thing that's sort of like kind of a con, which is, the other thing that really changed for me in all of this is my relationship with food. And I think part of it is, again, it goes back to that like mindset shift and that mindset piece is my relationship with food really has changed in that I think about food not always, it's not that I don't enjoy food. I still enjoy food and I still like food. I just eat in such a way that my primary focus is really about like fuel and energy and meeting my goals as opposed to like eating the food itself. And that's something I think that comes with, time and training and also sort of what your priorities are really. And really, I could even make that number 6 if I wanted to is, one of the big things that changed for me in losing 40 pounds was my priorities, the things that I make most important. Because there used to be a time where I would have prioritized work or I would have prioritized other things. But now I know the importance of taking care of myself and what that looks like. And that is a huge piece for me. But I will say the one downside is I look older, and don't come for me in the comments and don't be snarky, please. But I really do. And yes, I am older. I am 35 now, so it's not like I'm a spring chicken or anything. But I do notice that because my face is thinner, I look older. So that is one of the downsides is I don't look as young. But maybe I would still look this old. I don't know. It's hard to say. It's not worth, I wouldn't take it back. So it doesn't really matter. But just a word of warning. All right, friends. Well, I hope this was fun and interesting and hopefully taken in the spirit that it was given. And if you love this kind of content, YouTube should be recommending something else to you that they think you'll love. And I hope you love it too. Thanks for watching. Till next time.